Welcome to FPS for Less.
The channel where you get more frames for less.
Today, my 10-year-old son is going to be building his very first gaming PC. And you ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
i7-6700K. Team group, 16 gigs, 2x8, Samsung 970 Evo Plus, NVMe M.2, 1 terabyte, Cooler Master, Hyper 212, RGB Black Edition, GeForce RTX 3070, EVGA Supernova 750 watt, G2, Asus Z170 AR, DIY PC, ARGB N5 Black.
Ready to build a computer?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you gotta do your breath. There you go. Now bring it back towards me, and then this whole flap comes up. Okay. See that little arrow?
Yeah.
Over here is like a corresponding arrow. Hey, is that the right way?
Yeah.
Okay. Set it down gently. All in one go. Yep. You gotta put it right back the way it was. Good job. The next is the RAM.
Okay.
Okay, well generally you use the second and fourth slot. These two is what you want to do.
Is there like a certain way it has to go
There is.
like that with that?
Yeah, exactly. So there's a groove, and you want to make sure that groove, right, or that notch lines up with the groove in there, okay? You want to put even pressure on both sides, okay? So you want to use both, you want to push straight down. And you'll get a click. It'll fully click in once you're all the way in. See how that's not clipped in yet? It's not pushed in all the way. There you go. Now the other one. I don't know. There you go. Good job. So the next thing is the SSD. See how there's a notch here?
You put it. Okay.
There you go. Go slow and gentle, okay? And then don't go tight. As soon as you feel it snug at all, that's when you stop, okay? And stop. Perfect. All your games get saved too, right? When I say your computer's filling up, that's what's filling up. So now what we're doing is we're putting a CPU cooler on our CPU. Perfect. Then you want to take those little stand off, screw them on, and
Like tight or like just.
yeah, pretty tight. Not like to where you're putting any strength into it, but like it'll stop. So this is thermal paste, Eli.
And onto that?
Yeah, just make like a little X. So you're just gonna do a little line that looks like that, and that's it. Full straight line, there you go. Okay. And you evenly tighten it down so you get even pressure.
Okay.
We're lining up with those holes. You see the holes? And you're trying to do like 2 turns, make sure you're screwing in a little bit, and then come to this side. There you go. There you go.
Okay.
This is a huge checkpoint. You assembled the motherboard. Okay, so the motherboard has holes, right? So see how there's one here? There. So we have 1, 2, 3, okay? And then we have 1, 2, 3, right? And then up here, we have 1, 2, 3. So we have 9, okay? So now, we want to kind of visually check for the standoffs. These standoffs are these little metal things that stick up, right? And that's what the motherboard's sitting on, okay? And remember, you have 3, so yours goes 1, 2, 3. There's not one there, right? And then, if this is the right one, you go 1, 2, once again, 3. You're missing one again. And then
1, 2, 3, missing one again.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm assuming we have them here.
So see, it has a screwdriver head right there. Then this, look at it. And then this goes in here. And then that way you can use a screwdriver to tighten that piece in there. What you would do is you would pick it up and pretend like you're installing the motherboard in there. And so you're looking for those holes, and you'd be looking to make sure it lines up.
Okay, so it would go like that. Okay.
This is just a tip for building computers in the future, okay? Sometimes these guys will be in different spots for different motherboards because all kinds of different size motherboards could fit in here, and they don't always have the same hole layout. So say this was installed here, okay?
Okay.
And you just left that there and you installed the motherboard. This standoff could dig into the back of the motherboard and destroy your motherboard. So never ever leave standoffs that aren't being used for the installation holes, right? Make sure you remove them. This goes in first. This is called your IO shield. So if this is how the motherboard sits, which way does this go?
This way.
Okay. It goes from the inside, that's why you have to do it first. And then what you do is, it'll kind of snap in. You push in the corners. So you want to make sure the big grooves come through, and then you kind of push in the corners and they'll snap in. You want to make sure all 4 corners snap in.
Okay.
And you want to be careful, don't slide it on those standoffs, okay? And just make sure you're kind of lining up the ports before you set it down.
It's almost there. Okay.
What you're looking for are the cap screws. These are your motherboard screws, these guys right here. And be gentle with it, right? Just slightly snug.
That there.
So see how you can unravel this?
Yeah.
So we're gonna undo. So first of all, I'm gonna pull this through. Remember where you're unplugging them from?
Yep.
But you see what's different about the case screws? You see how they're way more coarse? How the threads are like bigger than all the other types of screws, right?
I'm gonna plug these back in. Right, so this, careful. Okay, button. This goes in like that.
I just want you to know what you're hooking up. You can kind of see exactly where these wires go. You see the buttons? So like these wires are for the power switch. This big one is a USB-C. Just so you kind of know, like get an idea of the things you're hooking up, right? So this is HD audio, okay? The cord I'm handing you. This is gonna plug in on the very bottom down here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna run this where you kind of come through here. But look at the plug really quick. It only goes one way. See how there's a missing pin? See how there's a gap? If you look at this part, there's a missing pin and you have to line it up.
I felt it to go in. Push it in. Okay, I think it's in.
Here's the part that bothers most people. It's all these little switch wires, okay? But I will walk you through and it will not be a big deal at all. So let's do the bottom one. Remember that other one had to go underneath those? So let's do the ones underneath. Okay, so which one was that?
It's power SW.
Okay, so that goes right next to the one you just plugged in.
There?
So, yeah, it takes up the very next two pins.
Okay.
So this thing goes here. These are your USB ports. Look at it real quick. See how there's a notch right there? Or a groove? And then look at, see how there's a spot for it to go right there? You have to like manipulate it and bend it around. It goes in the right spot. So we should have actually ran it up here, huh? Well,
actually, yeah.
Yeah, so be careful pulling it out.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yep, it's in.
This is the part that plugs into the motherboard. This is the part that plugs in the power supply, okay? You remember the cables you plugged in, right?
Yeah.
Start with the motherboard one first. Turn around, look at, once again, see how there's like a notch? It only goes in one way, do you see? So you wanna make sure this thing is seated all the way in. Over here.
Okay, is it coming out?
So that's the motherboard power, okay? Now the next power is the CPU, which is your processor, okay? And the power for that is usually the very top corner up here of the motherboard. Same thing like all the other things. There's always
assuming it's like this.
So you want to bend it upside down usually. Okay, that's another really important one. You want to make sure they are clipped. So it installs like this. Okay. So this goes in the top. Okay, so it's going to plug in up here, which means we're going to need the second and third one of those removed. Called your PCIe slot. See how there's a clip here? Kind of like the RAM. When you put the graphics card in, you want to push it open. Same thing when you're pulling it out. It'll lock in once you push it all the way in, just like your RAM does. So you want to open it up. It's open. Pushing it in until it kind of snaps in and it clicks in. There you go.
Now, can we put this back in?
Your power connections are here. So the clip goes up top. See the little lip? So there's two different wires, so separate them. Work on one at a time. You know how that up there was 4 plus another 4, right? So that's actually called a 4 plus 4. These, you know how you go 6 and 2, even though they're still 8. This is called a 6 plus 2, and that's how you differentiate these 8 pins versus those 8 pins. And then you can kind of make sure both sides are plugged in. So you kind of just look at the gap. Make sure the plastic to plastic, there's no gap, right? There you go. Okay, Eli, we are like there. So this is the fan to your cooler. And so this is actually really easy. It just kind of clips right onto here. But we need to plug these guys in. One is just the RGB lights, and then the other one is important, and that is the CPU fan. You usually have a CPU header. Right here, these are all fans. See how it says CHA?
CHA fan.
Okay, those are regular fans. And if you look down here, look at, you'll have more of those fans. See, that's another fan one, right? But then look at this one. See how it's white? And it says CPU fan right next to it. See that?
Yeah.
That's the one we want the CPU fan to be plugged into.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, now this.
So now the RGB, we're gonna need to run to the back.
Okay.
Okay, well, you need to be over here.
Okay, so what does it go into?
Alright, Eli, push the button, see if it powers up. Eli.
Oh, snap. No! No!
You're moving, you're right. Almost got him.
No, no.
That felt kind of mean.
Is that the guy that killed me?
You like that?
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
Oh my god. I just webbed everything around me. Well, I only died.
Don't mess
I just started going.
Did you have fun building the computer?
Yes.
Do you think you could build a computer again?
Probably.
Without my help?
Probably not.
Really?
Yeah. Unless I pull up your video. So,
It's easier than you thought, huh?
Yeah. I thought it would like take days and I would be stuck up with all the wires.
But it wasn't like that, huh?
Yeah.